You know what? I'm just going to read it again. Hello my beautiful geekies, and welcome to my review for Batman the Killing Joke, the animated movie based on what is probably the most acclaimed graphic novel of all time. It's directed by Sam Liu and it stars Kevin Conroy, Mark Hamill, Tara Strong, Ray Wise, among others. And this is a story that completely blew people's minds once it came out as a graphic novel. It's the origin story of the Joker in a sense, but it is also the story of how one becomes the Joker, be you the real Joker or anyone else in this world. I'm a big fan of the graphic novel. It's one of my favorites of all time. It's in my top 3 if it's not my number 1. But if you guys have been following me for a while, you know that I'm not a purist. I don't need everything to be exactly the same as it is in its original material. But I have a big problem with this movie and I was very disappointed. So this movie adds a storyline with Barbara Gordon. She's involved with Batman, she doesn't know how to handle this, she knows Batman is not looking for anything serious, and she doesn't want to be in love with Batman, just so happens that she is. She feels this attraction to him. And Bruce Timm told us that he would add this storyline to the movie so that we would feel more for Barbara Gordon and give extra motivation to Batman. There are 2 problems with this. In this story, it fits that Barbara Gordon was merely used as a plot point because this story is about the Joker making a point. Barbara Gordon in the story becomes a victim of casualty. He wants to make a point. He wants to prove that even a pure guy, a good guy as Jim Gordon, can become a demented psychopath just like the Joker. He can break down. That is why it's important that Barbara Gordon is only used as a plot point in this movie. We don't need to feel more for her. We as fans of the comics already feel for her. We know this character. And I know what you're about to say. People who only watch the movies wouldn't have this feeling. I understand that. And I completely 100% agree. However, in this movie, what they ask you to feel is feel for Barbara Gordon as you'd feel for any other person. Because the story is so real and is so realistic to a point that what happens to Barbara Gordon could really happen to anyone else. It was important that this was anyone at any time by somebody, by some psychopath, some demented son of a bitch being shot without any caring. And that is the important focus of this movie. And trust me, I do not mind the storyline with Barbara Gordon. I actually like it. My problem is that it doesn't fit. You can add something to your original source material as long as it fits and it adds something new. Barbara Gordon's storyline with Batman in this movie didn't give us anything more than we needed. It didn't fit the story whatsoever. If this was another entirely different animated movie, I would really enjoy to see that. But in The Killing Joke, we know what we want to see. We want to see Batman. We want to see the Joker. We want to see what the Joker does to Batman through his torture of Jim Gordon. And that is not what happens in this movie. This movie doesn't seem to have focus until like 30 minutes into it. And even then I have some problems. And speaking of what I just spoke about, that is Batman having extra motivation, you don't need to read comics to know this. It's the Joker and Batman. Batman needs not any extra motivation when dealing with the Joker. Let's get to the nitty-gritty, the origin story of the Joker. Those scenes are so well handled. I love seeing his torture. Those scenes of the flashbacks are so perfectly handled. Except for the fact that we actually see his wife. I can't remember seeing his wife in the comic book. But even so, those scenes with the wife add something, just like I was telling you with the Barbara Gordon storyline. Those scenes with the wife and then him dealing with the mafia and being lured into that trap of pretending to be the Red Hood, those scenes add the bulk to the character. And you can go either way with that. You can like not knowing Joker's origin, you can like knowing it. I am impartial to it. I would like not knowing, but knowing this way does not really bother me. Then let's go to where the Joker shoots Barbara Gordon and then Batman finds out that the Joker he's meeting at a cell is not the real Joker. Joker kidnaps Jim Gordon, he takes him to the fair, to the park that he just bought, and then Batman has to find Jim Gordon. Here's the problem. We get all this setup very, very well done, my friends, and then when we get to the bulk of what the story is truly about, it goes by like this. The torture of Jim Gordon is too fast. Batman finding Joker and finding Jim Gordon is too fast. Their fight does not take a moment to let you breathe and to let you handle the tension. After Batman frees Jim Gordon, there's not a moment for this man to handle the consequences of what he just went through. The torture of seeing his daughter clearly raped by this psychopath and maybe his minions. And then the supposition that the Joker supposedly raped him as well. Not so much in this movie, but trust me, it's a very important aspect of the comic book. We don't have pacing in this part. The most important fulcral point of the movie, what we need to take away from this movie, does not get delivered to us. We don't get 1 second to handle the fact that Jim Gordon just went through that. Batman finds him, he releases him, he goes after the Joker. After that, Batman fights a little bit with the Joker, he finally has him. It's a little gun with a little flag with the words bang bang bang, and then Joker starts laughing, he tells Batman a joke, the killing joke. They start laughing, the camera pans down to the puddle of water as it is raining, and then you just start hearing Batman's laugh. That is the subtlety that is present all throughout the comic book and the subtlety that was needed throughout this movie. What made the comic book work was a sense of uneasiness and a sense that something just doesn't feel right. Just as you look to the first page is the scene where Batman goes to the cell to talk to Joker. That gives you a sense of uneasiness. You want to find out what is going on. You're immediately invested. And then you find out that the Joker is not there. He goes and shoots Barbara Gordon. And then the torture of Jim Gordon is spread throughout the comic book. That is the most beautiful thing about the graphic novel. I'm sorry I said beautiful thing. It's not beautiful at all. And the comic book is also really scary. And that is something that this movie needed. This movie never felt scary. Sure, you can tell me I've read the comic book before. It's normal that I wouldn't feel scared. I've read the comic book a lot of times. I always feel scared. I always feel icky. I always feel weird reading this comic book just because it's so psychopathic. You get so much into the Joker's mind. And that is the true essence, the true tone of The Killing Joke. The animation is really good in this movie. It lended itself so well to adapt this graphic novel, which is a magnificent piece of art. And the movie, just as it's giving you hope that it will handle it well, it just bogs down a little because of the pacing issues and the tone that it does not achieve. The movie, by adding that Barbara Gordon storyline, just boggled down what The Killing Joke is truly about. And the Joker is probably one of the characters that least shows up in the movie. He's very little in the movie. You never feel his presence even though he's not on screen. And look, I know it seems like I'm bashing this movie. I am not. I took enjoyment out of it, but I was really disappointed. This is probably the best performance from Mark Hamill as the Joker. As far as performance goes, he hits so many different levels. The lines he reads always seem different, always seem vibrant, dynamic, and that is something that I always imagined the Joker sounded like as I read the graphic novel. Batman is also really good and Kevin Conroy blows it out of the water once more. He's the perfect voice for Batman in animated form, period. I really like Ray Wise for what he had to do in this movie as Jim Gordon, even though we didn't get the fulcral point to focus on that torture scene and it didn't went on as long as it needed to go. He did a really good job even before Barbara Gordon was shot and during the torture scene and after. He was really good as well. The voice cast is, all of them, really strong in this movie. Beautiful animation with some really nice imagery, but the story just was boggled down. My main problem with this movie is the writing and how it didn't blend with The Killing Joke and the plot points they decided to add onto this movie. And let's speak of that final scene as the camera pans down to the rain on the floor. After that, we get a post-credit scene with Barbara Gordon assuming the mantle of Oracle. And I like that scene, but not in this movie. The Killing Joke needs to end with the camera panning down to the rain and leave you to suppose if Batman killed the Joker or if he didn't kill the Joker. I won't call this a bad movie. You can see that their intentions were good, but the stories did not blend and the focus was not where it needed to be. I like the plot point with Barbara Gordon. I like her relationship with Batman. I have no problems with it differentiating from many other people. But in this movie, it did not belong here. It should not have been here. Great cast, great voice work, great animation, poor writing, poor blend of storylines, poor tone, and poor execution of the focus in this story. Batman the Killing Joke is not a bad movie. If you've read the graphic novel, give it a watch, let me know what you think. And if you haven't read the graphic novel, let me know what you think as well. I have a good friend who yesterday asked me if I was going to review this movie. I said yes, and he told me he really liked the movie. I'm sorry I didn't like it as much, but I'm very happy you did, my friend. And I am going to give Batman the Killing Joke a C+. I'm very much looking forward to hearing your opinions on Batman the Killing Joke, the animated movie. Let me know your thoughts on it, whether you've read the graphic novel or not. Did you know what was going to happen in this story? Do you like the addition of the Barbara Gordon storyline? Do you like that storyline but do not think it belongs in this movie? Let me know all that in the comments below, as well as what is your favorite DC animated movie? As you go down there to let me know your thoughts, check the description below for the hashtag Squad Q&A and leave me your questions about anything and any number of questions you like for the Q&A dedicated to Suicide Squad. Just leave the hashtag down there, and also in the description below check out my links for my Facebook and my Instagram and my Pop Price Guide collection page. If you guys haven't done so yet, please click subscribe in the button below the video box and come join our beautiful geeky community, and we can be geeky united. I did many trailer reviews before this video, so I urge you to go check them out. All the trailers coming out of Comic-Con, Wonder Woman, Justice League, Doctor Strange. I'm hoping we get a Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2 trailer this week, but I have a very special video coming later on, and I hope you check that out as well. I'm very honored to do it. And of course, I hope to see you in all the special videos and reviews coming to the Geekness Overlord channel. Cheers!